I see the new Saturday room, I think it's pretty talented.
Right.
It's like struggling to hit one megalite, and as soon as I leave, they're like skip right there.
I don't think I ever reached the mark right here.
My device is connected to it. It won't ever connect to it.
Yes, daughter. I couldn't work with it. Turn the phone off. Now it's great. No, you've got like 3 minutes before the bell rings, so talk. No, I will. Well, am I supposed to give you that, Well, I was gonna, but, so yeah, when I get there, just run up to Walmart, okay, so, but I'm gonna have to, I'll probably get there like at 12:40.
Okay. That, every time I ask from the bed, it's girl. Even though I say it's terrible in there.
Huh? Who? Oh, they are? What's their name? Is it a lady? Last year it was a lady,
Still pretty
right?
bad at 95. It's not good at all.
Are you?
It's better than
You know where it is? Yeah, I won't mark you out. Stay back. So it's a Friday in River City. That's what Sacramento used to be called. It has 2 big rivers going through it. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
River City.
I live in the River City. I live in Little River.
Huh?
I live in the River City.
Where do you live?
Little River.
Little River? Gold River. Oh, well, Sacramento's called River City because of the American and the Sacramento Rivers.
Yeah.
It used to flood. I've seen pictures of the whole downtown flooded before they built all the levee systems. Like, you ever go downtown, you see the houses that are up? They have a bunch of stairs that go up to them. The old houses. That's why they have all the stairs, because they didn't have the levee system, so the river would flood on occasion, and the water would go up. So people, I've seen pictures of people in like canoes on the streets downtown, like in the early 1900s. There's some museum down there that has those pictures. It's really like, you go, wow. Then when you drive by the old houses, you know why they put the stairs and door up so high.
Yeah.
Levee system is amazing, but it's not raining much this year, huh? Cold.
You probably jinxed it. You probably jinxed it.
Me? No.
Probably gonna start raining.
I don't think it was this cold last year, this time in December. I don't know. Some forecasters say that there's gonna be a lot of rain north of us, like Oregon, Washington, and very, very north California.
Yeah.
That's where it's gonna get the most of the rain this year. And if it fills up like Shasta in Oregon, we'll be fine. We won't get drought.
I thought Oregon was already done.
They let water out all the time. They've been working on the dam up there for almost a year. I don't know if it's full or not, but last time I saw it, the rivers are running high. That would be because they're letting water out. So, and that doesn't make any sense when you think about how we've all had to conserve water and California's been in a drought and then they keep letting water out of the river. Why? What are you looking to get out? You know?
Yeah.
They do it for fish, they do it for all kinds of reasons. So, it's one of those things. When it comes to drought here, do you say, well, if we didn't let all of that water out last year, do we have to conserve water now? Maybe not. I don't know. think a lot of science goes into it. So, not for me to say. Hey, Xavier, I want you to put them back where they were. Just keep them all on the same space, okay?
Yes, one of the second.
Thank you. Sounding very British.
What song was I was humming a song, I don't know the name of the band, but I have a CD that has the song on it.
It's the way you hum, it sounds British. I've heard that song on Sirius.
You listen to Sirius XM instead of the regular radio?
Oh yeah. Why? Because it has all kinds of music.
You can't.
I like to switch music genres.
Not just the popular ones.
Heck no, I listen to country, rock and roll, pop,
Why not
old
pop
music, new music.
Why don't you listen to popular ones?
I listen to pop sometimes. I don't like all of the current pop. I like the old pop.
Why you don't like current
I don't
pop?
know. Maybe because my musical tastes that were acquired when I was younger.
I'm the same way, honestly.
You kind of like a certain kind of music and you just, I don't know. I mean, I can listen to all kinds of music. When my son was a teenager, I had to make myself like rap because that's all he wanted to hear. And I actually developed.
You like rap? What
I do. A different kind. I mean, I can listen to a rap song. I don't have a problem with it. I probably will go for a hard rock first. But if a rap song's on, I'm okay with it.
Music?
But I didn't like it when my son first blasted it. I was like, what the heck is that? Then one of my daughter's friend's mom, said, let's just learn to like it. So we started listening to it and singing it. Like, this was a while, about 10 years ago, and she helped me, and we liked it. And we were cool moms. Yeah.
Music is way better 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would say the rap of 10 years ago I like better than today.
What rap did you listen to?
Oh, come on, music gets better and better
And all the
every year.
main stuff, my son was into all of it. What are the guys' names?
Back in the
P.
day.
Diddy and Tupac. Those guys.
Nate Dogg, Warren G.
My son still listens to it.
Kenny G? Do you like Kenny G?
I like Kenny G.
Well, you haven't heard Kenny G? That's a great rapper. Just type in Kenny G on YouTube. Kenny G, yeah.
He's on the block.
Yeah, Kenny G's really good rap. You'd like that.
Google it.
Play it to your friends. Tell them I recommended Kenny G.
Well, let's go.
Yeah. Play some Kenny G for us.
Kenny G is one of the worst. Why would you happen to pull that up? That is so obscene.
Why do you hate me?
Kenny G is like, he's a G, man.
Do
Do you know that Kenny G has a world record? You guys know this? You know what his world record is for? Circular breathing. Kenny G, I don't know if you guys know this, but didgeridoo players can do what's called circular breathing. They can blow out and suck in air at the same time so that they can continue to play the instrument. I believe Kenny G was able to play one continuous note using circular breathing. I think it was like for about an hour. That's impressive, yeah. It's called circular breathing, this technique. I don't know how it's done, how to do it, but I have a friend, well, she's no longer a friend, we don't talk anymore, but she, what are you giggling about? She played the didgeridoo. She wanted to teach herself the didgeridoo.
Is that?
The didgeridoo?
Yeah.
That's that instrument. No, it's a Australian instrument. Yeah.
That's kind of a lame name for such a cool instrument.
It's a very Australian.
It's a lame name, the didgeridoo. That's lame. Dude, I think that's an awesome name.
Named by Crocodile Dundee.
Would you guys like SID today?
Sure. Maybe
Can you guys sustain SID today? You can. I said, you guys. If you're not going to take part in the SID, okay, how many people would like to take part in the SID? One person. 3 people. Okay. 4 people. So we might want to listen to what I have to say. I expect your cell phones put away during that time.
First period, I was never on my phone. I was actually listening.
I'm not. I know you were.
You wanna go with
Yes.
me?
Are you looking at me? I didn't call you. You know Chris just asked you a question?
I know. I know.
And I took roll this one.
You have something to say? Okay, 1 second. So, Libby, what about you? Are you going to SID? You don't want SID? Then those of you who do not SID, I expect you to take out your books and do chapter work, or you can do your notes if you haven't looked up, Okay?
Roll is taken.
So take out your books, those of you who are not taking part in SID, and complete some chapter work. And I want to see headers, and I'm going to come around and I'm going to look at it. Okay, you said you had a comment.
What do you feel about a person going to prison now?
He's not going to prison.
Yes.
He's not going to prison.
They said that they are.
He's not going to prison.
Yeah.
He's not going to prison.
They said.
Well, I don't know who they is, but he's not going to prison. Now there are people.
They found some more information about 2 people that they lie about stuff. Say about how many
Contacts with the Russians.
yeah.
He's not going to prison. There's an investigation. The investigation could lead to criminal charges. It probably won't, but he's not going to prison. Just to clarify.
Yeah.
B14. Hey, what's up, baby? How you doing? Talk to me. What you wearing? Well, probably not. So what do you need? Well, then send him on down, baby. You come down here yourself and rub my belly. Bye-bye. That was Mr. Barlow.
Trevor's not here today?
He is not. So is there a reason why the phone people, why the people who aren't part of SID aren't taking out their books?
Yeah.
I am taking out the book.
I already caught up notes.
So you have notes you can study. You have the page numbers, right?
There's more to know.
You don't?
I already studied.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. We'll test whether or not you need to study some more. Okay? You ready? Alright. They have to be questions that are covering things that name 3 of the 6 parts of 6 provisions of the California Constitution. Name 3 provisions of our California Constitution. Only 3. There's 6 of them. Name me 3. Okay. So another question is, what is the term limit for a California Assembly member? That's good. You got that. Okay, I'll give you one more. How many terms? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not 2. No, not 4. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the term limits, not the number of years the term lasts. How many terms can they run for?
2. No, 4.
No?
It's
You're
like-
guessing now. It's 3.
Oh.
2 years each. That's why I originally said yes. You said 2, but it's 2 years is how long their term. So you should probably study some more. You have the page numbers. Okay? Okay, Libby, could you at least take, and you too, Ty, can you at least take out your book, open them up to 686, and at least, look like you're studying, so I don't have to keep saying snarky little reminders like, hey, why don't you guys open up your books? So, Devin, are you going to take part in SID? And Libby, you might want to consider, I do need chapter work from you. Okay, USID people, let's sustain it. You gonna be part of this? Or do you want to do your chapter work? What's that?
I already did everything.
You did everything? You turned in every chapter? Have you studied your notes? You have? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question.
No?
No? Yeah, so why don't you take out your book? You have your notes, it has the terms of the page numbers. We went over this yesterday. Sources of bills, direct legislation, these kinds of things. Remember the 2 names of the types of direct legislation that we use here in the state of California? No?
Constitution?
No. Constitution is a document. They are the initiative and the referendum. Okay? You need to study things like that. So why don't you take out your book? You're not going to take out your book? You don't understand what I'm telling you?
Don't understand that.
You know what? Thank you for being honest. That's fine. You don't have to, but here's what I want you to do. Take out the book and look at the terms so that if I have to ask the question, what are 2 types of direct legislation? I'm not going to ask you, we'll talk about in class like this, we'll talk about what a referendum is, what an initiative is, but I at least want you to know that our 2 types of direct legislation are the referendum and initiative. So that what I'm hoping is maybe someday if you hear on the news that, hey, voters are going to vote on an initiative, you'll know that, oh, they're trying to make a law, right? That's what I would like. So take out your book, okay, and then study that section. All right, SID people, let's go. What are you doing? Okay. SID people, let's go. What do you guys want to discuss? We're going to talk about space. This is American government. You want to discuss space?
I thought we were doing SID.
SID related to American government.
What the frick?
That's how we always do it.
Not in English.
That's different. I said SID, and we're going to do this at Econ too. If you want to have an well, I understand that, but this is American government, and so our SID has to listen. It might seem boring, but there are a lot of issues that are going on today. A lot of things that are happening in politics, in world politics. There's a lot out there, Ernesto, if you guys are paying attention, that you guys might have questions or comments about. But I see that there aren't any. And so, and maybe you can learn about it, Ernesto, through someone else bringing up something. Today in second period, we actually went pretty deep in there. We had good discussion. You guys know Jade and Austin? And these guys are getting involved, and they were asking about what's going on in Jerusalem. You guys see what's going on in Jerusalem? The riots?
Yeah, right.
Because someone had asked, hey, is World War III going to start in North Korea? And I said, man, if you guys are focusing on North Korea right now, the sheep has hit the fan in Jerusalem, in Israel. There's some heavy stuff going down, man. Heavy stuff. Are you guys aware of this? You guys been watching the news? No? Yeah? Do you know why it's going down?
They're moving the embassy.
Well, they're not, they're the United States, the first time in our history, and it's not a long history because the nation of Israel hasn't existed for a long time. It's only been about 60 years. For the first time, a president.
1948.
Right. I said about 60 years, right? Is that about 60 years?
1948. 69 years.
Okay, is that about 60?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, she's back.
That's funny.
She's back. I got it. I got it.
I'm slightly depressed today, but I can
I'm
be
sorry.
happy.
Is there something that you need to talk about?
Talk about it.
I don't want to.
Okay, you need to talk outside? Okay.
I'm just trying to make myself happy.
Trying to make yourself happy by giving me crap. You know what? Kick me. I can take it.
Kick him. They can kick him now.
No.
Ernesto, really?
What?
You want to kick me?
Yeah.
You want to kick her or me because you wanted SID about anything. That's why you want to kick me. So, for the first time, we have a president acknowledging that the United States will acknowledge Jerusalem as Israel's capital should Israel make it their capital. That's huge, guys. Because the Palestinians, there's a whole lot of Palestinians who are pissed off about this right now. And they're taking it to the streets, and this could get very, 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 very ugly very fast. Okay? Hey, so SID people, so all right, you don't want to talk, what do you guys want to talk about? You said you could sustain SID, go. Well, that's some sustaining, man. Kind of overwhelmed by the flood of information you're providing us right now.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm being a total smart aleck, I shouldn't do that. So, what do you want to talk about? You don't know. That's your contribution to SID. I can sustain it, Mr. Wallace. All right. Tyler, what do you want to discuss? I don't know. Dude? All right. All right. Ernesto, if we throw it up to an open SID, what would you want to discuss? I was actually going to let you ask your question if you would have, just bear with me a little, let me give you a little bit of crap for not discussing American government. Then I was going to say, well, go ahead, ask your question since you started. All right. So it began in space. You know how in space. Now, I'm kind of fascinated. Now, you're lucky because I like space. Last night, I sat in my jacuzzi and I stared up at Orion's belt and I was looking at the stars and I was thinking to myself, with all this light pollution, there's only so many stars you can Orion's belt really sticks out because there's not a lot of stars up there, but of course there's lots of stars up there. It's just Sacramento has so much light pollution you can't see them all. I was thinking about that last night. I was thinking, I wonder what the other stars are like. How did they get the constellation Orion's belt from, if these three stars, they must, right? Because you can't see the other ones, so they must really, really, really stick out. But what would the light look like if you took all these lights in Sacramento and turned them off? What would the sky look like? That'd be cool.
It would take a few minutes, but then it's a little better.
It would take a few minutes?
Yeah, just
Light travels, right? That's a good point. You're a very bright person. You have a lot of information that's relevant to what we're... So, Ernesto, SID, you know how in space? Finish that sentence.
didn't they like discover like other planets up there, or like, or like aren't they like still exploring if like there's another world or like another planet that's like Earth?
Like Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. I believe there's. I remember hearing about fairly recently, like within. Hey Ryan, easy there, big fella. Okay. Remember Ryan? It's cool to like be nice to people and stuff, but remember when someone's walking by, Ryan, look at me, just running up to them and asking them their name, sometimes it freaks people out. Okay? They've discovered a solar system. It's within, you guys know like the difference between a solar system and a galaxy, right? You guys know that, the universe? You guys know the three distinctions. So the universe is everything out there. All of space, okay, including us. A galaxy is a cluster of stars. And when we say cluster, we're talking millions upon millions of stars. You know what galaxy we live in?
Milky Way.
We live in the Milky Way. I did not. Let's keep it our secret. Austin, I was just informed that you helped Rio win the trophy for their wrestling tournament.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge. I was in a Rio wrestling tournament many, many years ago, and I did not help us win a trophy.
I believe it.
I was a freshman, and I had to wrestle a guy named Bryce Oglesby,
I got some good.
who thrashed me. I was a freshman, and he was a senior, and I wasn't supposed to, it was a varsity tournament, and I was a freshman, and we didn't have a heavyweight, and because I wrestled freshman 191, they said, hey Wallace, you want to wrestle heavyweight? So we can, because they thought, our coach thought, we should have a full team for our own tournament. So I said, okay. And then the first guy I had to wrestle, so there were all these schools here, big tournament. Ponderosa was a wrestling power back then. And they had this guy named Bryce Oglesby, right? The dude was just an absolute badass.
How big is he?
How big was he? He was 5'9", 190. I'm sorry, I was wrestling 191. We didn't have a 191.
Plus.
He's like 5'9", 195. He was a fullback. He went on to Oregon State, played fullback. He ended up going to Princeton and not going to the NFL, but he would have been probably a first round draft pick. He was this massive guy, just freaking muscles growing on his muscles, right? And coach says to me, he goes, hey Wallace, you know who you open with? And he points.
Oh no.
He goes, you open with him. Yes, we have this match, and my first match, and everyone's there, and like the whole city in the Sacramento Bee is there to see Bryce Oglesby wrestle. Who has the first match against Bryce Oglesby?
You.
That'd be me. I'm a freshman, and I go out there, and he pinned me so fast. And I remember I was humiliated. People laughed. And as a freshman, I sat on the edge of the thing, and I cried. I put my head in my hands and I cried. I was so embarrassed, and I was just like, I was embarrassed. And the next thing I know, I thought it was my coach. Someone has their arm around me, and they said, hey, it's all right, man. Your day will come. And guess who it is? Bryce Oglesby. I'll never forget that.
And your day is now.
No, it never came. He lied. But it was really nice. It was really nice.
And I wrestled with Hulk Hogan.
Can you beat him?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I threw him onto his back. I got him.
Maybe I'll do WWE
You
stuff.
just interrupted him.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. That's cool. That's awesome.
You was awesome.
Hey, well done.
Really?
So, what was your, so are there other planets? Yeah, they're looking at, they've identified one in particular, and I know it's within the Milky Way, in another solar system. I don't know which solar system.
Is it Planet X or is it something else?
No, so Planet X, I believe, refers to the planet beyond Pluto, right? That they thought was a planet, but I think they think it's, no, I think it's a, I don't know.
It's a group of planets.
It's what?
It's a group of planets that are classified as planets.
That's what Planet X is?
Yeah, it's with the above.
Well, obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm not gonna. I know that there was I believe they have reclassified Pluto, right? Now they do not, don't they not see Pluto as a planet? It's like, or it has I don't think it's considered a planet like Earth and all these other planets in our solar system are considered. I think because it was so far away, and because of, I don't know what it
I think it
takes.
used to be, but then it wasn't, and now
Now they just call it a dwarf planet.
Okay,
I can.
well, maybe they call it, they are the dwarf star. Okay, alright, so, and then I thought they found something beyond Pluto that they're calling a planet. But I think it's another one of those, they're I think it might have been in that same category that Pluto was in. Sure. Okay? Do you like the idea that, would you like there to be a planet out there with life on it?
Yeah.
The idea that it,
What?
why do you say no?
They might have.
Would you put that away, please? The phone?
They might have more.
No, put it away. I want you to be part of this. Okay.
They might have more advanced technology. They might be a planet conquering.
That's your
We don't
assumption?
know their intentions are. So aliens is what I'm trying to say.
So you fear the possibilities.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I mean, if there are aliens out there, they can come down whenever they wanted to. But I mean, the government, like.
See, I don't agree with that.
No.
No, because here's the deal, like, you know how, like, we have evolved, right? And we've evolved to this point, right? I still think that space travel is such a problem for any living thing, that the distances, that you could be really evolved. I don't think, you still have to deal with, like, propulsion, aging, getting from point A to point B. Make it through like the Kuiper belt, the asteroid belts. Like, there are so many things. I think that would apply to life forms on another planet too.
What about bionicles?
Marbles are real.
The planet full of bionicles?
Do me a favor. Go take a walk. And
No,
when you no, listen. You're gonna take a walk. And as you walk, I want, because I've asked you this time and again, and we're having a serious conversation, and you throw that out,
No,
like, there's a
listen,
time, no, listen, there's a time and place, do you really, I mean, like,
I'm
because a
serious.
bionicle is a toy, right?
No, but like the life forms that look like, they just look like that.
The life forms that look like which ones?
Like, like a moth, like, some sort of like.
No, which life forms?
Like, animals, bats, like weird.
See, that isn't what you meant before, though, you meant bionicles, huh? Be honest with me.
The creature.
No, be honest with me,
Yeah,
right? And now you're just making that up so you don't have to walk.
No.
No, yeah.
I'm not making that up.
Okay, no, but what I'm saying is, originally your intention was to be funny, right?
No.
That's why you said bionicles.
No, it wasn't funny.
It was funny? Why don't you walk with him? And then the two of you can talk about bionicles all you freaking want.
No.
Why don't you two go walk over to Mr. Barlow's and ask him what he thinks about bionicles? Okay, so listen, deep breather. Next time, don't, we're trying to have a conversation.
I know.
So to throw that out.
I wasn't trying to be funny.
Well, I don't know, because you're looking at me and you go, what about bionicles? And then I say what I say, and you go, okay, no. It makes me think that you're just trying to mess with us.
I wasn't messing with you.
Because I would never mess with you guys. So, Austin. Okay, that's an interesting point of view, though. It's like, to fear the unknown. I mean, it's a very human reaction. Okay.
Like,
What if the possibilities were good? What if they had the technology to come all the way over here and could help us with stuff?
I don't think they would help them, to be honest.
Well, let me ask you something. Let me ask you. You don't think they would help them because, see, I think the problem is you're thinking in terms of what humans might do,
Yeah. The aliens might think they're helping us.
but they're aliens. What I'm saying is you're thinking. See, we call this anthropomorphism. You guys know what that is?
No.
Okay, what that is that's applying human characteristics to other things, to other objects, well, living things. So that's like saying dogs are loyal. They very well could be loyal. But then when you say that, you're applying, so like humans are loyal, right? So they're applying human characteristics like, is dog loyalty the same as human loyalty? Now, when you fear, so when you fear other things, the unknown, you're assuming that, well, if they think anything like humans, then what it seems to suggest is that then you expect the worst of them.
Yeah.
Yes?
So, I know people say they've seen things, this is one of the reasons people think there could be life out there.
I've seen things.
It's such a huge universe. But those airstrips in Peru that are huge.
The Nazca planes?
Yeah, and you can only see them like from space, and they're dated really old.
You can see them from the mountains surrounding them. It's not that you can only see them from
I
space.
thought some of them you could only see the whole image.
No.
From where a plane would be.
No, you can see them from. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. You're saying from when you say space,
Well, I mean from an air.
from the air,
Yeah,
from
from something that flies.
up high. Yeah, you can see them.
I mean, my brain tells me that might be some type of evidence of a life form that came from another place, and that's some type of a message. We don't know what it is, but it doesn't seem angry. And if there was some beings that put those there, why haven't they come back and wiped us out yet? They were, that's kind of what my brain tells me. If they could.
Which you?
And I don't think that's applying anthropomorphism to it.
Well, no,
Dogs
that's
are loyal.
so. I think there's a danger, right? There's a danger to assume that they're evil because if that puts us on edge, we could possibly start a war with them, and that probably wouldn't be good if they have the technology to get here. Or we assume hot water. You know where to do it?
I know. Well, I'm just still looking.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to shelve this conversation until you get back. Okay?
Okay, can we talk about the loyalty of dogs? Because what would be another word? If that's applying this anthropomorphism to dogs.
Anthropomorphism.
Well, anthropomorphism? Anthropomorphism. Okay. If we say dogs are loyal, and we consider that's a human characteristic, but what would the characteristic in a canine be? What language would it be? You know what I mean? What would you say?
I don't see them
If
as
your dog sits by your side and growls at someone that means you harm, does that mean he's loyal? That's the way we understand it.
No.
right?
The question, right? The question isn't.
So I don't
It's
understand.
not that it's not that it displays behaviors, characteristics of loyalty. The question that animal psychologists look at is what their motivation is. That's where we anthropomorphize other things.
Oh,
Like
what
we
their
don't
motivation
understand
is.
their motivation.
Okay.
Okay, I think I told you guys. You can talk. I mean, if you need to talk,
He wrote
if
me
you're
a
trying
really
to.
cool note that I'm going to keep forever.
Mr. Wallace.
Here.
Mr. Wallace.
1 second. 1 second.
I'm going to hang this up. Thank you. You just made my week. Now, are you taking this to Mr. Barlow?
Sí, yes.
Bye.
Give me the boss.
Look what I got, Mr. Barlow.
So, where's my freaking note? Have a nice weekend.
I get very few cute notes. Have an awesome weekend. I'm taking it up.
I'm gonna give
I need
you
a
Bye-bye.
phone.
Did you have a work question or an SID? You want to be part of this conversation?
I just had a question if I could put it down.
You don't have to ask me that. Just go. Alright. Okay. I saw your hand up too.
I don't see a dog as loyal.
Okay.
They see us as a source of food. They know that we give them food, give them shelter. So why would they be mean to someone who gives them this stuff? You know? They see this as a real life.
I have no argument with you. I'm not going to argue either. You know, David Foster Wallace wrote an article called Consider the Lobster.
Does that happen to be a relative?
No. Not that I know of. Could.
I knew it.
Showing off his knowledge.
I'm trying to show off my knowledge? No, I'm trying to address the topic. And he talks about the suffering of lobster. And he says that, you know, lobster is like, is it okay to torture an animal? And he says that most people would agree it's not okay to torture an animal. So why do we boil lobsters alive? Like, that seems like torture. That seems wrong, right? And then he says, now, then he looks at, here's the justifications. You know, most people say, he said, for example, at the Maine Lobster Fest, on the pamphlet, the public, like, the thing they give out to people, it says that lobsters don't have cerebral cortexes, and in humans, cerebral cortexes control the center. It's the center that allows humans to experience pain, and they don't have it. And so in his research, he says, well, this isn't actually true. He says, well, yes, they don't have this thing called the cerebral cortex. They still have, a, I don't remember, I can't remember all of the details. It has the center that controls pain. They have these, in fact, that are wired throughout their body. Not only that, all the hairs on the edge are, you know, they're like whiskers for a cat.
Yeah.
They're feelers, right? So they said like that shell that they have, it's more like a delicate skin. You know, and I think about this like, I don't know if you guys have ever touched a crawdad, but upon touching it, they'll take off, right? So I see like lobster has it. So he says the problem is this. He said the problem is that for us as human beings to assign feelings to an animal, how do we know when somebody feels bad? Besides body language, thank you very much. How do we know? Besides body language. So like if you're like, what else do we do? Okay, if I pinch you, what are you going to do? You make a noise. Well, not only that, you're going to say, quit effing pinching me, Wallace, it hurts, right? We have language. We have language. He said the problem with understanding animals is we don't have a common language
That's
with them,
exactly right.
right? So what do we look at? We look at wiring. So we look at brain, you know, we look at these things, and we don't even know that their wiring is like ours, but we know with our wiring, we know how our nervous system works. We know how our nerves work and what they communicate to us, right? So we can imagine, and then the other thing we look at is behavior. So they say for animal ethicists, whether or not something is ethical or not, we should base it on how does the animal behave when we treat it that way. Okay? And they say, so how does have you guys ever thrown a lobster or a crab into a pot of boiling water?
No.
No? Okay, here's what they do. They try to get out. They claw, they frantically claw and scrape at the side of the pot. I've done this. I've cooked lobsters alive before. I worked in a fish restaurant here in Sacramento. Okay. They would take it out of the pot. What they're supposed to do is take a knife and split. They stick it between the eye stalks and split it. It splits the head open, that kills it, and then you throw it into the pot, okay? And then I've seen it when they do that, the lobster's still moving. Now, he said the problem with that is that their brain isn't between its eyes.
Oh.
Its central nervous system is wired throughout the lobster's body from head to tail. So you're not really killing it. I mean, you're not really making it insensate. Where you brain us, we're probably not going to feel anything, okay? So, lack of language, so understanding how animals feel, I think, is really, really complex. I think I've told you guys a story, I think you've heard this, where my daughter and I, she was talking about a dog, and I said, I don't want a dog, and I told her my reasons, and I said, you know, here are my reasons, oh, but they're so cute, blah, 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 and, you know, they can give you comfort when you're, I go, what, a dog giving me comfort Like, you know, and I said, Maggie, that's ridiculous. It's not, how do I know it's giving me, and I know, I'm trying not to get a dog, right? I'm trying to shut the conversation down. Yeah, do dogs seem emotional? Do they seem like it to me, like they seem happy. So upon having that conversation in the car, I go home, I turn on the TV, guess what's on cable television? UC Channel, which is the University of California. They have a lady, she's speaking, and she has just written a book, and I believe the title was What Humans Feel, Dogs Smell. Something like that. Or What Humans Know, Dogs Smell. I can't remember the title, but it had to do with smell and humans. And what she said is, and people were in the audience asking her questions about dogs. Now, she had just written this book, and what she said, well, she says it's more complicated than that. You're anthropomorphizing your dog's behaviors when they act a certain way. And I think what I told you guys, do you remember what I told you about them licking your face? Why do they lick your face? No. Why do they lick your face?
No dog I've ever had lick my face.
I've had a lot of dogs lick.
Not
Well, you might not allow them to. But if you let a dog that seems happy to see you lick your face, no.
Trying to get salt.
No. So according to her, okay, I'll give you a hint. It's the same reason why their noses have slits on the side. Do you know why a dog, have you ever seen a dog's nose when they breathe? It's not rounded like ours. It has a slit on the side. Many animals have this. You guys know? Well, to breathe, I mean, that's why it breathes through its nose. It can breathe through its mouth. Why is there a slit on its nose? No. No. Okay, the moist is important here when it comes to licking someone's face. So what you'll notice is they'll lick you, and immediately upon licking you, they'll sniff you. They will also lick at your eyes.
Ew.
So if you put your face, have you ever put your face by a dog?
Dogs to lick my
They will
face.
lick your mouth and your, well,
Well, you
okay,
have been around very
that's not, that's,
unruly dogs.
you have to stop talking, okay?
You're like another.
You're a dog trainer. You don't count.
She's like a Victor.
Most people who let their dogs do whatever the hell they want.
I'm a Victor. That's a compliment. Thank you. You're welcome.
No, Victor's random. She's specific.
Oh, true.
Because you say, you know, my uncle had a dog, and when we were driving over to my uncle's house, we stopped at a Taco Bell in order to, hey, Mr. Wallace, is a taco from Mexico or from America? Okay. What it's doing, the reason why it has a slit, it practices circular breathing. So dogs experience, according to this lady, most of the world through their noses, through smell. Okay? And what they're doing is, in order to get the thing to, if they lick it, it will activate, because it will, like if it's something dry, it will activate odor from it. And what they're doing is they're blowing as they're breathing in. Right? So they're blowing with their nose, but then they're breathing in through the slit on the side. And so what it's doing is it's forcing. So let's say I have, I know that this is kind of an extreme example, but I'm just going to tell you this. If you have, I don't know if you guys have ever had to clean up after dogs, but if you have a piece of dried poop, oftentimes, especially like on a really cold day, it doesn't smell. If you get the thing wet, it will smell more. And then if you like move it, like if you get it wet and then you break it up, it releases the odor. So what they're doing is they're licking it, and then they're blowing into it, which forces the smell of the thing back into its nose, so they can identify what it is. And they say they said when they're doing that, when they're licking your face and they're licking your eyes, that's what they're trying to, so the smell gives them signals, it communicates something to them. What she believes it communicates, this goes back to what you say, it's communicating whether or not this thing at this time is going to feed it.
I thought it would do that.
Okay. Well, I'm not here to debate yet. She is a scientist who's studied dogs all over, and she's written this book, and and there are a lot of people in the audience, probably like you. Oh, I don't think so. My dog loves me.
Well,
No, I'm
no,
joking. I'm
it's
joking.
just about if they never practice those behaviors in their day-to-day behavior, living with a family or an individual, then are they really using that sense like that? You see what I mean?
You know, I guess what I would say is look at your dogs and watch how they experience the world. Like observe them with an open mind and see, like, you know, dogs sniff a lot, right?
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
So like, you know, one of the things that I always notice is the first thing a dog will do is run up and sniff your crotch. If you're a human
God,
being.
you're around somebody.
Well, that's what they do, right? Okay, but I'm not telling you your dogs. You, of course, if you don't allow dogs, if you let dogs do what they do,
Right.
right? That's what they do. And how do dogs hunt? Aren't they sniffing?
Wait,
This is sight, this is sight. With the frame,
Okay.
they have
No,
to
no,
see,
no,
they
that's
have
fine.
the one.
But don't they
tree,
find it?
They have to see, literally.
Okay,
have
a
to see.
bloodhound. How does a bloodhound find something?
That's
Through its nose. What I'm saying is that their olfactory abilities are so acute. They're so powerful. They're like, I think it was something like, if I remember right,
Yeah.
it was in the millions.
Right.
Like it wasn't just a little bit. They're 1,000,000 times stronger
Well,
than a human's.
right, like they know when someone's in a car, that they know.
They can smell it.
From the house, they can smell the person in the car, and they know who's home. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So, and why is it important to them? You know, what she says is because they're so dependent on us to feed them. And so much is tied to food. You know, and people were saying, but what about, like, you know, the dogs that when they whine and all this stuff? And she says, well, you're asking me questions like your assumption, you're thinking like a human. You're putting yourself like, here's how I would behave. So you're interpreting it like they're sad. I don't remember what she said about whining. I didn't watch the entire thing. I just remember having an aha moment where I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to tell Maggie this. She's not going to like it, but I'm going to tell her what I'm hearing about this. She talked about, I don't know if you guys would know about the horse, the guy who trained his horse to talk to him.
Yeah.
Like they'd ask him questions and they would, and that's been,
Horses are extremely intelligent.
yeah, and so what she said is that the way, like how these people train these animals, like there are these really subtle cues that animals pick up on, but it's all about, it's what they call operant conditioning.
You use their instinct too. What is their actual instinct? Like a horse is going to flee from danger, where a dog is probably going to stand off danger. They're very different.
Oh, well, you've been around some weird dogs because
Well,
a lot of dogs, I walk my friend's dog who runs away every time it sees a cat.
my dogs growl at people before they even see them.
No, I got you. And then it depends on what kind of dog. Like some dogs are more, some dogs are bred specifically for, it's difficult because dogs being domesticated over years have been bred. So we breed certain characteristics in and out of them. I'm not trying to get into that. The point of that was just, it was about anthropomorphism.
Yeah.
Going back to the aliens,
Hey, that's right. We waited.
going back to the aliens, yeah.
Like sometimes when my mom comes, like when someone walks in the house, my dog, he puts his nose right between like people's butts.
Uh-huh.
Why do they do that? Is that like?
Well, probably because people's butts smell.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And the dog is picking up on a smell. And so it's going to be attracted to that thing that, the thing that most smells on something, like, hey, what's
That's
that?
why you teach the dog on your bed.
Right.
It goes over there and lays down on your bed. Instead of falling.
Like, I remember one time, I don't want to get too graphic here, but I remember one time, there was some poop on the ground, okay? And, I'll just tell you the story. I was in like 4th grade, and I had to poop when I was locked out of the house. My mom hadn't come home yet, so I went to my backyard. I had to poop, so I pooped in my backyard, right? As soon as I pooped, my 2 dogs, that's not the point, it's about me pooping. My 2 dogs are like standing, like, they're sitting, they're kind of watching me, I remember like, man, quit watching me. As soon as I stopped, they both got it, and they bolted for my poop. They both ate it, and then one of them like started rubbing its back, and I was like, oh my God!
That's why you don't want to talk.
That's probably why. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, I remember, like, those 2 dogs, I would never never touch them again. My mom's like, how come, like, I didn't want her to know I pooped in the backyard, you know? She's like, how come you don't like the dogs anymore? I'm like, I don't want to keep away from so they rolled in my poop and they ate it. I hate those things, they're devil dogs. Now, why did they do it? Obviously, the one that rolled around it, I don't think it was a feeling thing. I'm assuming it's a smell thing.
I think it's territorial.
Well, that's why I mean, so think about this now. Think about this. I went back earlier to say, and you seem to disagree with it, that most of the dog experience is through its nose. The territorial thing, when it pees on a post,
You're right, it is.
it's about the nose.
But
Now, how much
they
of
have
it?
no training. So if you take a human baby and you never talk to it and you never teach it anything, is it gonna know how to, come to school and sit at a desk and listen and talk and have conversations? No, same thing with a dog. If you don't, it's going to use its only instincts and probably just cry and figure out how to.
But that doesn't okay, that doesn't explain the fact that its nose is 1,000,000 times stronger than ours. So I think the point is, evolutionarily speaking, it has these abilities for, it's like a shark, right?
Yeah.
A shark can sense it picks up electric impulses,
Right.
and it can pick them up from, like, I think they said 2 miles away. A great white shark, if there's a seal, if something's splashing in the water, it can pick it up from 2 miles away. It's amazing, right? Well, because it has to eat, and there's vast distances, and so things that don't pick up that, hey, there's something suffering in the water, probably aren't going to live. So the things that do those senses will become really honed. Going back to the dog again, listen, I'm not trying to debate the emotions of dogs, whether they have them or not. It seems to me, I've been with dogs before that seem extremely loyal and loving, like to the extreme. And so if you told me that they have emotions and that their emotions are close to the kinds that we feel, I would believe you. There's footage of, like, especially elephants. You know that elephants mourn the dead. They show these behaviors, that they will mourn the dead.
And they communicate with herds of elephants that are miles away too, through different noises.
Okay. So I don't doubt that, but I also, if a scientist tells me, yeah, but it's more complicated than that, and that we're anthropomorphizing their emotions, well, I believe that too. I mean, I see people who do that, like, we project, right, onto others when it's sometimes wrong. And I'll say, well, why do you think that they don't like you? Is it because you have your own conflicted feelings about how you like or dislike other people? Now, that's what human beings, imagine trying to figure out how an animal feels. Yes.
Your classes are the most interesting thing I've ever had. The most out of the ordinary classes I've ever had.
You got a detention. See, he meant that as an
That
insult.
is great.
He meant that as an insult. See, she sees it as a compliment. I see it as an insult.
It was a compliment.
You know what I just heard you say? Blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to prove a point.
Count Dracula.
All right, cool. I'm glad, now get back to work. Ernesto, would you put away your shoe? Oh, now you know what, if it's making you comfortable, play with your damn shoe. If it's not a cell phone, it's a shoe. Ernesto,
Yeah.
so would you like to keep talking about life on other planets?
Yeah, well, okay. I searched that,
Okay.
Planet X or whatever the name is in Hebrew.
I didn't know that.
This one person said that it's large, and then it might encounter the Earth like in the 21st century, or like in the future.
Well, we're in the 21st century, so I hope it doesn't encounter us now. That'd be bad for us.
Yeah.
Planet X. Oh.
Like generation.
Look, it said it might the idea that a planet-sized object will collide with or closely pass by Earth in the near future.
In the near future.
Yeah.
Well, and if we're talking like intergalactic future, that could be billions of years. Ernesto, was that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one comment.
Is it about dogs?
No, it's about any other creature that doesn't have the same language as us.
Okay.
Including maybe elephants and lobsters. I think anthropomorphizing Anthropomorphizing is a word made to detach, like, to make us as humans feel like we are above these other creatures. It seems like a word like that to me. I don't know why, but it just does. And I really think that all the life on Earth, you know, they have their own intelligence, they have their own way of communicating and doing things, doesn't mean that we are superior to all of them. They're all just different. We are all a lot more alike than we think. We just can't communicate in the same manner as all other organisms. Like the lobster, you know? In the lobster world, what do? We don't know. I mean, how do they communicate? Sharks, all, no.
I find it interesting you would bring, that's an interesting point about the language of science. Of course, the language, I think anthropomorphism is science's
Yeah, it's
way of not complicating things.
yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't see it as a way to detach. Now, I think a way to detach in order to be objective, but not arrogant. And in fact, I think that it might keep people from being arrogant.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I think that what happens is when we anthropomorphize, it's what saves dogs over cows,
Yeah, maybe.
right? That's why. So you guys know what I mean by that? So that if we look at a dog as being something that's loyal and loving, unlike a cow, then we save the dog,
But
but not the
cows
cow.
are sweet too.
You know, that's what I say. So this is one of the reasons why I became a vegetarian. I could no longer trust. No, I'm serious. I mean, you know, I'm not telling you guys you need to believe this, but I could no longer justify killing any mammal. I can't justify it. I couldn't justify killing a dog. I would never want to kill a dog.
Ducks are.
Okay.
Hey, no, but Mr. Wallace,
So, and I thought like, well, if I can't justify killing a dog, then I shouldn't justify killing a cow. And if I can't do that, then maybe I need to really look closer. Again, this is me, so don't debate me on
Well,
it.
here's the old farmer's method. You don't name the one you're gonna eat. So if you have a cow.
That's called denial.
Well, you know, that's the way you've gotta be
You
able
don't name the
deal with
one
things
you
in
eat.
life.
That should
Yes,
tell you right there
You have to kill
that,
your cow, feed your family, you don't name the darn calf. If you're gonna keep one, you name it Bossy or
Mr.
whatever.
Wallace,
But that's the way
bossy,
people
you
have.
kill your boss?
No.
What the hell is that supposed
The
to
one
mean?
you don't kill, the one you
Yes.
name.
it's the basic human nature. It's
What
like
is?
what Mr. Chris said, put a baby out and just let it be. It's not gonna go to school, it's gonna go to the basic needs, food.
Right.
Maybe not even make one.
Learning is just a thing that we do to ourselves. It
Mhm.
helps us with life. But if we were just to want to survive.
Well, if something doesn't learn, it dies, right?
Yeah, you have to learn something, everything.
Right? So what is our basic, you know, they talk about language acquisition. For a long time, the main linguistic theory, even to this day, it's not for a long time, okay? The main linguistic theory was based on intuitive cognitive ability to have language, okay? And so what they said is, and I can't remember, it wasn't Bettelheim, it was, I can't remember the guy's name right now. But what he said is all humans are built, they have a built-in ability to learn language, okay? Now, what he said is, for example, all children at a certain point who develop at a normal rate know the difference between past, present, and future. Make sense? And their language, whether you teach them or not, they'll say things like, I ate it. Like if they know the word ate, they'll throw on sometimes an ED ending to describe, even though it's in the past tense. They don't know, like if they don't know it's a past tense word, they don't have a concept of like, could you ask a 2-year-old what a verb is? They're going to say it's an action word. That's past, present. No, they're not. But they'll say, I ate it. They'll say words like that. And they say, that's an example of that built-in innate ability. So here's what they needed. They needed a society that has no concept, that would have no concept of time. okay?
That's all I was gonna say.
You too. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
And they found this society. They found it was in the jungles of Colombia, wherever it was, and they said that because it was a really isolated group, a tribe that had all of its needs met. It didn't need a concept of past, present, and future. It didn't have in their language. They said they don't have one. So they found the smoking gun. And there's a camp that says, no, this was set up, you created biases, you tainted the product. And they're saying, no, we didn't. They've had outside, people come in and say, all right, here's, they've gone into the tribe, they've studied it themselves, and they said, no, this is true, what the person is saying. And it's completely undone. To some people, there's still people who say, no, the one researcher is a quack. And they said, no, it's like you guys became so ingrained, this became so institutionalized, you cannot comprehend and won't accept any other answer.
Oh yeah,
That happens. No, I haven't done that yet. I'll do it this period. Oh, don't worry. I mean, I'm not in a rush. I have it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
What do you think?
Second morning talk.
Like a morning talk show.
I'll tell you what.
Ivan says it's like a morning talk show.
Yeah, let me go.
This is the original that I kept in.